Nation. Manfit TV, aka Me TV, aka Lies and Bullshit, man. And you know what? We already starting up. I want to talk about right now, man. Y'all have to understand. I wasn't even really thinking about doing this video today. I knew I was going to do the video, sports video, because it had to be done. But let's get something straight here, all right? I didn't get motivated to do this sports video until I saw today one Trayvon Martin's case. Now, I do want to talk about this. I haven't talked about it at all. But the only reason I'm talking about today is because of the sports aspect. Now, for those who don't know, all right, funniest thing I've seen all day, to be quite honest, is they bring in a specialist. That's right, a specialist, an expert, to talk about George Zimmerman's boxing prowess and his MMA experience. That's right. So that's what we're going to talk about for the beginning of this video today, all right? I just want to let you know it is an absolute joke what this guy was saying. This guy is talking about how George Zimmerman was so out of shape. And if anyone's ever seen the pictures of George Zimmerman, before and after and what he looks like now, definitely not out of shape, okay? But also, he goes on to say that George Zimmerman was so out of shape boxing-wise, that he couldn't take on a competitor in a boxing ring, a fellow boxer, so he sat around and hit the heavy bag. That's what he did. Now let's get something straight here. Trayvon Martin wasn't a boxer. You understand that? So you know what that means? It means what you're saying is irrelevant. That's what it means. And then he says that he was out of shape to even do MMA. That's what he says. So should I point him to Big Country? Should I point him to that? Matter of fact, should I point him to Butterbean when it comes to boxing? Look, weight only has a certain amount of things to do with it, all right, when it comes to skill. You have to understand this. If you know how to use your weight, it can be a weapon. That's all it comes down to. George Zimmerman obviously did not know how to use his weight. I'm not trying to hear he's just out of shape or lazy. He just didn't know how to use it. That's it. But this expert, all right, is going to sit here and lie about how boxers, and it's funny, boxers and MMA fighters, he ain't even talking about street fighting, all right? Boxers and MMA fighters, that if they don't win a fight within 30 seconds, they have to change their game plan. If you don't believe me, here's the quote right now. So apparently in 30 seconds, if you don't win a fight, then you're just going to change all your tactics altogether. So I guess that means all boxers and all MMA fighters, within the 30-second realm, just change, just throw away their game plans, all the studying, all the, the scouting they've done, and just say, I'm just going to wing it. You have to be kidding me. How many times have we seen MMA artists and boxers, they do it with the first 2-3 rounds, they fill each other out before really engaging into each other. And MMA fighters, we've seen time and time again them wait and pick their shots. Are you going to sit here and tell me that this guy knows what he's talking about? He don't know what the hell he's talking about. But yet we're supposed to believe them. People like this, paid experts, that's right, paid, should be slapped. But you know what? I guess if I slapped him right now, in 30 seconds, if he didn't get his results, he'd change his game plan too. You've got to be, this is stupid. But I will tell you just how stupidity will win this trial. And this is all I'm going to say on it, okay? Because, like I said, I'm going to stick with sports. But after all that's been said, George Zimmerman will get off on this case because of lies. Because I told you before, I'm done believing in people. I'm just am. All right. So the stupidity and the ignorance will take over. George Zimmerman has said that he shot, or at least the reports say, and the experts say this is what happened, shot Trayvon Martin at a 90-degree angle. That means if Trayvon Martin was over top of George Zimmerman, hunched over, trying to fight him and banging his head into the ground, like they claim, because Trayvon's a thug, he smoked weed, because that's all they got, all right? Let's get something straight. If he shot him while he was hunched over, that would be at a 45-degree angle. That wouldn't be a 90-degree angle. But yet, they keep denying that. How's that possible? Even the expert, after they asked him about all this fight knowledge, all right, he said himself in the court case, you can't believe anyone else's testimony other than George Zimmerman's. Which means he just made himself look bad. He discredited himself. I mean, we shouldn't believe a damn thing this guy is saying. And he was paid for this. This is what I'm talking about. But George Zimmerman will get off, not only because of all his lies, because he wants you to believe, he wants you to go against all math and all gravity, all defy everything that you've known, that you've been taught in life, so that he can get off. All right? That's what he wants you to do. But there's people who will believe him. And when he gets off, there will be people, I'm telling you now, black people, they're going to riot. They are going to riot. And you know what? You're going to have the racists come out and say, we told you they'd do it. This is what it comes down to. And yet, I believe that CNN really needs to be responsible for this because they really amped up the race card on this one. They should be responsible, but as we all know, the media never takes any responsibility for anything they do. It's sad, it's pathetic, it's sickening. I will put it like this. As soon as that police officer told George Zimmerman not to get out of that car, and he did anyway, while calling him a fucking punk and all this, and then realized he wanted to go after him and realized, wait a minute, I'm getting my ass kicked. I can't fight him. That's what it comes down to. There's no way you can even say it's self-defense when you are stalking somebody. Now, regardless how he feels, maybe he ran into Trayvon before or he saw something before and thought he was a thug or whatever, there's no way after the police officer say, don't get out the car, you get out the car and keep going. You've lost all that. But people don't want to use common sense. It's not common these days. It's just not. Anyways, that's all I'm going to say on it. I do want to move on to MMA. Now, we want to talk about Silva versus Weidman. I hear a lot of people saying that Silva versus Weidman was a fix. Silva just gave up. What? No, Silva didn't give up. It wasn't fixed. Silva got knocked out. That's what happened. I'm going to explain this. Look, if you watch the fight, you should know Weidman is a wrestler. So when Weidman actually took down Silva, had him, had his legs, if Silva was going to throw the fight, that's where he would have thrown the fight. Okay? That's where. Silva getting up and dancing and carrying on, no. That's not him throwing the fight. That's him trying to bait Weidman into coming in. He knew Weidman was a wrestler. His best aspect was to keep Weidman up. That was the strategy. Keep him up, keep him swinging. Here's the difference. Silva just took it too far. That's what it was. He took it too far. He kept taunting, and his taunting turned into showboating. We've seen this time and time again from Silva. So as far as I'm concerned, he just taunted a little bit too much, and guess what? Weidman made him pay for it, which he should have. I don't have a problem with Weidman winning. He should have won. Because you know what? People getting tired of cocky fighters. That's what it comes down to. See, Silva got a little comfortable. And, for his legacy or whatever, I guarantee you, now that he's been knocked out, because a lot of people say he's going to retire, he's not going to retire. He's going to come back for that rematch. I guarantee you he will. No one wants to leave the sport like that. Nobody. He's going to come back. So for everyone saying that it was fixed, it was not fixed. Weidman did a great job. Congratulations to him. Silva, I bet you next time you'll take him seriously, won't you? I understand, and the people have to understand. Even in the corner, when the round was over, they were telling Silva, hey, you got to calm down. You just focus, calm down. That's the thing. He got away from himself because he was doing too much of it. He kept trying to invite him in so that he wouldn't think about, the takedown. That's what it all came down to. Do I have a problem with that? Yes, I do. All right, he shouldn't be taunting him that much, as far as I'm concerned. We all know Silva is a striker. He wants to keep him up. But he paid for it, and he deserved to pay for it. That's all I got to say on it, all right? It was a joke that Silva would even think did not take anybody seriously in the UFC. You should know in the UFC, you can get knocked out quick, and, you won't even see it. You should know this. People hold titles for what? A month, and then they drop them? Seriously, it's ridiculous that he would even think to second-guess Weidman on that. I wouldn't have done it either. I wouldn't have second-guessed him. I thought Silva was going to win until I started seeing him start dancing around like, yeah, it's over. It's done. Weidman's going to get the best of him eventually. He's eventually going to get caught. So that's what it is. But I do want to move on to baseball. Philly fans, I want to know, how's life treating you today? All right, because as you can see, as of late, we've had Philly fans say they hate the team, then all of a sudden, they love the team. Then they hate the team, then they love the team. But when you go to these games, there is no way in hell Phillies fans should be doing this. If you have to go to Phillies games and put your Twitter handle on a towel so you can be on national TV so that you can get followers, you're pathetic. You are desperate for attention. The thirst is obviously real. You should be ashamed of yourself because you should be there just enjoying the game. But you can't even do that. No, you got to try to shamelessly plug yourself on TV. It's a joke. That's what it comes down to. Philly fans, if this is what you have to do at baseball games, then you're not real Phillies fans as far as I'm concerned. And I do want to talk about the Phillies a little bit because David Wright, I have to talk about this. So many people are upset with David Wright, and they have every right to be, all right? This is what happens, and I'm going to say this, when you put a Met in charge of the home run derby, all right? David Wright, how do you pass on Dominic Brown? All right, and I play this because I've said time and time again, there's no way Dominic Brown's just having this surgery, hitting all these home runs. That dude on something. I've said it. I'm going to stick to that, all right? But if he's in the how do you not put him in the home run derby? And if anything, I'll put it like this. I will say this. I don't even believe in getting ready to say this, all right? But if Dominic Brown was in the home run derby, all right, we may have seen another Ryan Howard explosion. We may have seen him, get to that swing where he's just knocking balls out the park consistently, like Ryan Howard did. Because remember, when Ryan Howard, before the home run derby, Ryan Howard wasn't a power hitter. But then after the home run derby, he started hitting them and hitting them and hitting them and hitting them. because he changed his swing, he changed his aspect. Dominic Brown could have done that. But you took the opportunity away from David Wright because you wanted to put your friend in. That's right. You wanted to put your friend in the home run derby. That's not good enough. That's a piss poor leadership. And then Mets fans wonder why the team is screwed up. You got to be kidding me. You put Bryce Howard, the hell is his name? Bryce Harper, it doesn't matter. Like I said, if you couldn't have voted when Bryce Harper hit that wall, if I couldn't vote for the wall that Bryce Harper hit in the All-Star game, then I don't care. You went by the fan vote, you went by picking your friends and some stats. That's not a good enough leader. And as far as I'm concerned, I hope the AL does destroy you guys in the home run derby. That is pathetic. And then just to say, sorry, it's not good enough. And for those who don't believe me, I'll put the link in the info bar for that. That's right. That's how bad it's come down to. The Phillies have been trying this up and down battle for 500. And like I said, I'm going to stick to my prediction. They are a second wild card team at best. At best. And now they're talking about the NL. The wild card may go to the NL Central. So we'll see what happens. All right. But seriously, do not look too much into these Phillies games. The players, there's some players that are playing well, and there's some that are not. We know Ryan Howard now is injured. That's right, because you know Phillies logic. If a player is not doing well, then therefore he must be injured. See Brad Lidge, see Chase Utley, see Roy Halladay, see all these other players. You know, how many times did we hear Brad Lidge when he was playing, I'm not hurt, and then he was playing piss poor, oh, he has to have a problem. Send him down AAA after he gets, whatever done with him. And he wasn't hurt. He just didn't have it anymore. That's what it came down to. But they kept saying he wasn't, he was hurt when he wasn't. Anyways, I want to move on. Last time I did a sports video, because I got to talk to you Miami Heat fans. That's right. We talked about the Miami Heat, and a number of you came in and was like, oh, you talking about the Miami Heat? Why don't you talk about other teams? I have talked about other teams throughout the entire season. Thing is, you just don't want me to talk about your team. That's what it comes down to. You are not an exception to the rule. You have to deal with it just like everyone else has to deal with it. And I will put it like this. I was talking to some of you guys about how, was it in Game 6, Ray Allen, in the comments, stepped on the line when he was going to shoot that 3 at the end. And you guys were saying, we can't find the picture. Well, since you couldn't find the picture, here it is. So there you have it. But yet, that's supposed to be okay, right? I'm just saying. Then some Miami Heat fan came in and started riding the Heat so hard and saying that Miami Heat fans aren't bandwagoners. It's just some fans are fans of players. Now, mind you, we talked about this last year, how, there's no more team loyalty when it comes to the home teams anymore. They just follow certain superstars no matter where they go. That's the problem with the NBA today. We talked about this before, so for him to come in and say that, it just, reinforces what I said a long time ago. But to say that there's no Miami Heat bandwagoners, none whatsoever, you can tell you're a rider. And I'll put it like this, because if you think that's true, then explain this one for me. And don't laugh yet, Lakers fans, because your fan base is guilty of it too. Now, Lakers fans, I do want to say that I do feel a little sorry for you after what's happened, but I really can't because I feel bad for your ignorance. I'll put it like this. If you really thought that Dwight Howard was going to stay in LA, you're crazy. To put up the signs, please stay and all that, I'm not trying to hear that. You should have learned from Orlando Magic fans that Dwight Howard is a diva and that he cannot handle pressure. No matter how many pieces you give him, Kobe, Nash, Gasol, no matter how many pieces you give him, he's still not happy enough. And then he tried to say it was the game plan. Then he tried to say it was the coach. Then he's trying to say the players too much. Now it's the pressure. Look, it's never enough for Dwight Howard. Do you understand that? So no, he wasn't going to stay. He's a ring chaser. So what does he do? He goes to Houston. Here's the funny part, all right? Because Dwight Howard, trying to be a drama queen, said on Twitter he was going to make his decision on Saturday where he was going to go. He's going to do it via Twitter. So pretty much he wanted everyone to jump on the wagon and wait to see where he was going to go. But on Friday night, people had leaked it out already and said he's going to Houston. And then what happened? His agent came out and was like, no, he's not really going to Houston, which was a lie. All right? And then he said, oh, well, Dwight Howard's on a plane, go back to L.A. and talk. And then before you know it, Dwight Howard's mulling it over. Then he's 50-50. He didn't know where the hell he wanted to go. That's what it came down to. And then we all knew we went to Houston. But here's the part that pisses me off the most. Because, check this out. And I want people from Dallas, I want you to explain this to me, okay? How is it that a food chain can come out and say, if Dwight Howard signs with the Dallas Mavericks, that he can get free food for life? Are you serious? You have to be, all these people out here that are starving, that are hungry, that are poor, and you want to give free food for life to a multimillionaire? Are you serious? What, is people in Dallas just stuck on stupid? I want to know if anybody is going to call the restaurant out on this. I'll put the link in the info bar for you. All right? I want to know if anyone's going to call them on this, because that's an absolute joke. It's obvious they have the means to change a person's life. But they don't do that, unless it's for some guy who can put a damn ball in a hoop, who already has millions of dollars. You have to be kidding me. But yet, this is how things work, right? All these incentives to people who already have it as it is. I don't care for Dwight Howard. I told you before, he's a diva. Ever since he dressed up with that wig on and everything and started dancing to that dude, I'm done with that dude. Something wrong with him. There's something wrong with him. He's a big kid. You know, no, scratch that. He's a big pussy. That's what he is. I don't give a damn about his potential to play up to, a championship level. I don't care how big none of that matters to me. When you act like this because you think that everything needs to be catered to you because you got comfortable with that life, then guess what? It tells you forgot where the hell you came from. That's pathetic, man. Now, I'm not trying to hear any charities he does. I'm not trying to hear any of that, man. I don't care. The fact is, he tried to hold people hostage over the weekend. Teams, fan bases, general sports people, media, that's what he tried to do. He tried to bring it all on him, knowing that he could have easily just said, look, I'm not going here or whatever. He could have said it at any time. But he wanted to have a specific plan, and those plans were disrupted. And I'm happy they were disrupted. But like Shaq said, he can't handle the pressure. And I agree. He can't handle the pressure no matter where he goes. That's how it comes down to, though, right? I guarantee you, if you gave him an all-star team and they did not win, he would still have a reason to complain. And then he tries to come out on Twitter and says, I was the third best center with a broken back, blah, blah. I'm not trying to hear that, man. All right? You have an obligation to win in LA. That's what they do. I don't care if you're playing with one damn arm. All right? You have an obligation to play up to that standard. If you cannot meet those standards, then you really do need to leave. And that's what he did. He left. And afterwards, Lakers fans was like, never forget, never forget. And they kept posting the picture of Kobe dunking on Dwight Howard when he was in Orlando. Yeah. You pissed off Lakers Nation, and you know what? I don't blame them for being mad. But they should have known better at this point. Houston, Rockets fans, you're about to go through the same thing. You're going to go through the same, I guarantee you're going to go through the same thing. He got, what, 3-year max contract? You're going to go through the same antics. Just because you give him as much money as you want, just because you do it, doesn't mean that his mentality will change. That means he wants the ball. Wasn't that his complaint in LA? He wanted the ball more? You're a role player. You should be able to adjust to whatever game plan is thrown at you. I don't care how many times you used to get the ball. Look at the people around you. Look at the pieces around you. Look at the legendary status around you in LA. Don't come in here trying to all of a sudden think that you're going to do whatever you want. It doesn't work that way. But no matter where he goes, he's going to have this problem. Whether he decides he wants to be traded later in Houston or he's just going to deal with it in Houston, it doesn't matter. You have to deal with that. If you think that you got Harden sitting on the side, you think he's not going to put up them points like he was doing last year and that they should just give you the ball every time, man, nah, not trying to hear that. And be a man about it. Get rid of your elbow pads too, because the people before you who trained you like Elijah, they didn't need all that. They didn't need all that. Oh, I'm getting hacked in my arms. Who gives a damn? It's part of the game. If you can't handle it, then like I said, you were too sensitive to play this game apparently. But that's all right. I'm sure there's somebody gonna come in here and defend Dwight Howard, right? Because he's the man. Look at him. Look how big he is. Give a damn about all that. It's what's in here that counts. And he doesn't have it. But that's okay, right? He got the millions. He got the money. And I'm just trying to figure out, so what, he got the money? What power does that hold over anybody? Nothing. All right? I don't give a damn about his money. I don't give a damn about his stature. I don't give a damn the fact that he only has like 3 post moves. I don't give a damn. If he was really worried about playing hard, then he would just put his heart into it. And he doesn't. And all it is a bunch of sobbing and carrying on. Did you see him after the post-game show? Don't have time for that. So what? You lost. It's part of the game. Not everyone can win. But whatever. You know what? I'm done. This is a sports thing for I'm done.